Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Monthly expert training, unlimited access to business resources, a comprehensive video library, and a private member forum with hundreds of entrepreneur architects just like you. Everything you need to build a better business is available right now at EntreArchitect. Subscribe today at entrearchitect.com/join. My name is Mark R. LePage, and you are listening to EntreArchitect Podcast, where I speak with inspiring, passionate people who share their knowledge and expertise, all to help you build a better business as a small firm entrepreneur architect. This is episode 280, and this week I'm speaking with an architect who found his purpose in technology. Early on in his career, he discovered his passion for making the process of delivering projects more efficient, allowing his firm to design better architecture and make more money. That passion has led him to found a new tech startup that has developed a tool that architects are going to love. This week at EntreArchitect Podcast, from full-time architect to full-time tech entrepreneur, with Zach Soflin of Layer. This episode of EntreArchitect Podcast is supported by our platform sponsors, Gusto, easy online payroll, benefits, and HR built for the modern small business. ARCAT, the online resource delivering quality building material information, CAD details, BIM, specifications, and so much more. And FreshBooks, the cloud-based accounting software that makes running your small firm easy, fast, and secure. Spend less time on accounting and more time doing the work you love. Zach Soflin, welcome to EntreArchitect Podcast.
Hi, Mark. Great to see you.
It's great to see you again. We were hanging out in Las Vegas at the AIA conference on architecture. We did a live demo on the EntreArchitect live feed on the EntreArchitect community on Facebook, and we had a good time there. And I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about what you're doing, and I was inspired, and so I wanted to bring you on the show here and share you with the community. So let me introduce you.
Awesome.
Before we get started and we talk a little bit about you and what you do. Zach Soflin is the founder and COO of Layer. His desire for knowledge and collective exploration led him on a quest to create the most flexible and accessible project management tool for design, construction, and building management professionals. Zach is a licensed architect who practiced for 8 years before founding Layer in 2019. He speaks regularly about BIM and complex data, including AIA National, at Built, at AEC Tech, and many, many other national and regional conferences. Zach, I shared a little bit about you there, gives you a little bit of tidbits about who you are and what you do, but I like to go deeper. I like to learn more about the people I'm talking to. I like to learn their origin story. So I want to go back to where you discovered architecture, because I think every architect has that point in their life where, oh, architecture, I could be an architect. And so I like going back to that point in people's lives and sharing that with the community. So if you could sort of take yourself back to where you discovered architecture, what inspired you to proceed and become an architect, and share the journey from that point to where you are today.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I can do that. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah.
I would say probably not unlike a lot of architects. I kind of started I started my degree in architecture not really knowing what all that entailed. And I think it really came from my childhood. I was always a tinkerer and loved building things, and the idea of building things and problem solving was always something that I was doing as a kid. We had kind of woods in the back of my best friend's house, and we did built trebuchets and forts and all kinds of stuff. And like that's really where I think like a lot of my interest in, again, like building things and problem solving came from. And so I think rather than just like me deciding that I wanted to be an architect, I think it was more just like, okay, this is what I like to do. What's a career path that would be most similar to that?
Yeah.
And so I kind of went down the architecture road, again, not really knowing what that all meant. And I kind of learned along the way and found that I was really passionate, not just about architecture and building things, but how technology and emerging technologies could apply to and improve the built environment. So
when in your life, between the trebuchets in the woods and the technology, when did the idea, the concept of architects and architecture, do you remember that point? Do you remember where that passion for building things in the woods and growing and maturing around putting things together, when that sort of formulated itself into, oh, I could do this as a career?
Yeah, I think that was probably in high school, where I took a CAD class, and we were working with Inventor and some other modeling programs. And again, I kind of really enjoyed like putting things together and designing things in this software. And I think really that's when I realized that, I think architecture is a great path for me. So it was in high school when I kind of decided that. Again, it was kind of focused on like I was really interested in at that time. 3D modeling was really new within architecture and within CAD. So that's something that I had learned quite a bit about and really excelled in, and decided, I think this could be something that I could spend my career doing, I guess. So yeah, I would say it was in high school.
Yeah. And so where did you go to college?
So I attended the University of Nebraska, the College of Architecture there. And I would say, again, I started my degree not really knowing what all architecture entailed, like what it meant to actually be an architect.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I think a lot of us have experienced that sort of, I want to be an architect. Yeah. And then you get to that first year architecture studio and you're like, wow, okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was totally different and especially, I mean, all architecture programs differ, I'm sure, quite a bit, but
yeah.
In the College of Architecture at UNL, you really start with more design-centric and design-focused exercises. So it was a lot less about, actual buildings and more about design in general and composition and things like that. And so that really took me by surprise initially. I was like, what did I get myself into? But really, I saw that, my education kind of laid a groundwork for not only like learning how to design and again compose things, but really instilled in me the ability of critical thinking, which I think is a lot of what a more general skill set that architects walk out of school with. At least a lot of architects walk out of school with the ability to critically think about problems and solve them. So yeah.
And then when you graduated from Nebraska, where did you go? What did you do? You're still in Nebraska now, so yeah. Did you go right into an architecture firm, and what did you do after school?
Yeah, I actually started interning at BVH Architecture about my third year of school. It's an architecture firm that's right across the street from the university, actually, and that was that's actually where I was at for 8 years after graduation, and I think it was interesting because I was in school, and at that point I was actually working during school as well, so I was interning the entire time, and so that like the balancing between academics and the professional environment, while there's a lot of similarities, it was so incredibly different in so many ways. I was working on more practical problems at work, in the professional realm, and then also going over to academia and working on more conceptual problems. And there was a large difference between the two. But I really like in my third year of school. Again, that's when I kind of got that internship at BVH Architecture. But I also started really diving into visual scripting and Grasshopper, and really found my interest in that. And I think that's really where I found like what I'm passionate about within architecture, which is, applying emerging technologies to practice and the built environment. And so that's really where my passion started to build for that, I think, is in my third year of school, because I could see how powerful some of these tools were and how they could apply both to practical solutions in practice, in my internship, and also solving complex, more academic solutions in school. So, yeah.
Was BVH already sort of tech savvy? Were they sort of on the cutting edge to begin with, or was it an internal discovery that, there's pretty cool technology out there, I want to go out and find it and learn about it and then bring it back to the firm?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think BVH has always been um, on the cutting edge of like what was being used in practice. I think visual scripting and like Grasshopper and computational tools like that weren't something that they were using at all. But they were just diving into Revit and other BIM tools like that at that time. But I think as I started to learn about more of these tools in academia, I found again practical ways to incorporate that into our practice, which led BVH to realize, I think, some of the impact of that. And I think one of the biggest examples of that was the Haymarket Arena. We were working on that project currently at BVH, and one of the problems they had was they had this drum, which is like the top of the arena essentially was this kind of doubly curved surface that went around the entire building, and that was kind of defined by several ellipses. So we were working in partnership with another firm, and throughout the design process, that drum changed shape about 80 plus times, I would say. And so they realized quickly that going through these iterations and rebuilding all this stuff every single time was a giant waste of time, because it would take somebody, 8+ hours to remodel this, and they were going through iteration after iteration to find the most efficient.
So you're just doing that straight raw in Revit, just building it from scratch?
Were, yeah. They were, yep. So I came in and said, you know what, we could kind of build a definition for this in Grasshopper that allowed us to adjust a lot of these parameters, like the size of the panel and the height of
what is Grasshopper? What does Grasshopper do? What's visual scripting in Grasshopper do for? Because I don't know,
sure.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people listening and saying, "Well, I don't know what that is." I hear about it a lot, but I don't know what it is and what it does.
Yeah, so Grasshopper is a visual scripting language, and what visual scripting is it's exactly what it sounds. Basically, you're programming visually through connecting nodes. So the best way I could describe it would be to say that you're essentially connecting different functions, like, for example, and different routines, like create a circle, now extrude that circle, now rotate that circle, or that cylinder, now now move that cylinder, now array that cylinder. So you're connecting all these routines to create a dynamic solution. So when you change parameters on the front end, like maybe the size of the circle, all of those routines through those linked nodes change. Yes. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So we were able to build a script that allowed us to adjust the panel size, the truss spacing, all of these different parameters within this drum, and spit out the final construction document ready geometry in under 2 minutes. So we're able to go through 80 plus iterations of this and be able to generate those in very little amount of time and explore different options rather than having to build those all manually. So I think, like, in practice, I found a lot of really practical examples for how we could apply those merging technologies to practice. And it wasn't just about, pretty shapes or, flowing surfaces or anything else like that, but it was about, again, finding efficiencies in the process, and also kind of justifying our design decisions to the owner. So I think BVH realized pretty quickly that there was a lot of power in that skill set and that technology.
Yeah, you end up with better architecture and you have a better business because you're doing things much faster. And so,
yes.
You're not wasting fee on building Revit models that would take, would you say, days to build a model that sort of gets you to one iteration without Grasshopper, and it takes minutes with Grasshopper?
So in our case, it was it took about a day and a half to actually build out the panels, the trusses, the walls, the windows, all of those pieces of that drum. So it was about a day and a half cut down to about 2 minutes. Now, obviously there's more time spent up front in
Right.
building that kind of framework, but yeah, it definitely saved us in the long run for sure.
Right. And so that's just one example of taking an emerging technology and applying it to what you're doing in practice and how it affects the company. So when you sort of discovered that and you found your passion there, that look at, I really like doing this, did they embrace you and say, hey, you should keep doing this? Or did you sort of go to them? Because as we talk about this, I'm sure there are people who are listening and saying, I'm just like Zach. I love that stuff. I want to do that stuff, but my firm isn't interested in that. Or how do I approach my firm to explain what I know and how what I know can affect the company?
Yeah, great question. It wasn't a clean process for sure. I mean, I think it was really, first of all, I would say that BVH was very open to these ideas and these new technologies. They're much more open than probably others would have been at that point. But at the same time, it took a process for firm leadership and even the rest of the firm to understand that these weren't just tools that we were fiddling around with that were just wasting time, but tools that could actually. So it really came through actually proving out the use case for these. And for us, it was about one, efficiency, but two, our clients, especially at least in the Midwest, and I'm sure everyone has a degree of this with the clients that they work with. Our clients are really pragmatic, so there was very little room for design decisions that weren't justified. To spend money. Budgets are closely watched, and like I said, our clients are pragmatic, so they want to know that their money is being spent on design decisions that are actually giving them a better building in the end. And so I think what we realized over the course of the 5 or 6 years slowly is that not only could this also a way that we could start to justify some of our design decisions by proving out that this overhang or this shape is necessary because of these reasons. Whether it was performative, whether it was analyzing the quality of the views outward, or the amount of daylight that was getting, and those types of things. We were able to justify those design decisions versus just telling them, well, it's my gut reaction. And I think that's really where my interest has lied, not only in practice but in school. I kind of found that as my niche for focusing on that. My thesis was on data-driven architecture, and it was really focused on the idea of building a framework that based on information from the building's users and the building's context, it would adapt to those environments. So, the architect can kind of design this framework, and then the form is actually left up to being generated by the framework that we've built based on information it got from its environment. So, anyway, I think that was where a lot of my interest started to build is how we could justify our design decisions and build better buildings for our clients.
Yeah. So when you and the firm came together, and you recognized that there were opportunities here, did you move to a position eventually that sort of where you sort of led this mission, or were you just a practicing architect that was interested in that, and you were the guy to go to when they needed that kind of stuff? Did it become a specific position?
So I would say most of my career was the latter. So I was just a practicing architect that was working on projects, and there were several within our office that would come to me if they had an issue that they thought would be a good solution for this. But otherwise, it was just me basically identifying opportunities and building routines and scripts to actually solve them as an architect. I think we actually started down the road of They did create a position for me to really focus on that. And then basically that led immediately into Layer, which obviously that's what I'm doing right now is running that kind of startup. So we never really got the chance to kind of solidify that as a position within our firm. I think BVH saw that as a valuable skill set, but I think one of the biggest challenges with anyone in kind of that computation and generative design realm, with those skill sets, struggles with is the idea that people, you can, it's really general. So it's a general set of tools. So it sounds like you can do everything, which is sometimes more difficult to convey to people, to have them help you identify opportunities to use it. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges that we had, but I think we had finally kind of solidified what that position might look like. And I stepped into that role, and then we immediately kind of started down the road of Layer.
So how did Layer, well, actually, before we get into how was Layer born,
sure.
Explain what Layer is first, so everybody can understand what it is and how it works. And then we'll go back to how it grew out of this position.
Cool. Yeah. So it's a flexible digital collaboration platform. Its goal is really to organize and manage building data and help adapt to your workflows and improve your communications. So the entire goal of Layer is really to be one home for your building's information, your project's information. So it does that by connecting tasks, messaging, files, and field data to your actual building elements. So for example, it's rather than working through email chains or file servers and things like that, you're storing all of this information relative to your building. So for example, room 1200 might have 15 photos attached to it. It might have several conversations attached to it. It might have that needed. A certain door or a certain piece of mechanical equipment might have the same information attached to it. So it was really just a way to reorganize communication and collaboration in a way that fit our workflows as architects, working in the actual space versus in email, separate means like email chains, file servers, things like that.
Right. So you're taking all those back and forth emails. You're taking maybe all the information that would possibly be in Slack, because Slack might be the replacement for email. It takes all of the text messages that may be going back and forth. It takes the photographs, and it takes all of the BIM information from a BIM file. All of that is brought into one place that can be easily accessed and then linked back to a specific project in a specific building, even to the specific rooms and specific materials within those rooms, right?
Exactly. Yes, that's correct. Yep. Yeah, and that's really the goal. The goal for us is, as an architect, I was living it for a long time. Just the problem of paperwork and email chains and all of that. Our goal really is to minimize the amount of effort that people are spending on that stuff, so they can maximize the amount of effort that they're spending on the fun stuff like design. I think that's really our goal, is to be kind of one home for all of that information, so that you can stop searching and sifting and filtering and get back to designing.
So would Layer replace all of that stuff that I talked about? Is it so? Ultimately, in the perfect world, it's Layer and Revit or whatever BIM software you're using. It's just those two things together, and that's all you need to sort of manage a project.
Yeah, I think we see it as that. I think a replacement for email or replacement for file servers, for FTP servers, for all of that, those types of collaboration tools that are kind of segmented out,
right,
and not really connected. Our goal is to kind of put all of that into one space. So yeah, we kind of see that as a replacement for all of that. Obviously, you're not going to get rid of email completely.
Yeah, although that would be nice.
In the way that you're working, it would be nice.
Someday.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. But that's our goal anyway.
Yeah, and it's very impressive, which is one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, and because I want other people to go look at it. Because it's when you showed it to me, and if anybody wants to see the demo, it should still be in the community. If you go to the EntreArchitect community, our private Facebook group, if you're not a member, you can go to EntreArchitect.com/group and get in there. You have to be an architect though. That video should still be in there. So if you search for Zach Soflin or Layer or AIA conference, you probably would be able to find that video and watch that demo. We might be able to even link to it on the show notes, so you can take a look at it. But you'd still have to be a member to get into the video to see it. But very, very impressive. You know, when you first talked to me about it, and Jessica, who's on your team, talked to me about what you do and how you do it, it's hard to sort of understand it at first. And so when you see it actually happen and you realize that, you know, a conversation about the color of a flooring material in a specific room in a specific building can be found within seconds. And that could happen over and over and over and over again all day long for months while you're developing this project. It's amazing how much time that would save, and how much money that would save, and how much more money the firm would make by saving all that time. So it's really impressive, and it's very intuitive as well. So it's well done.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool. Good to hear.
We will be right back to our conversation after this quick break to say thank you to our platform sponsors here at EntreArchitect, Gusto, Arcat, and FreshBooks. If you own a business or know someone who does, you probably know that us small firm business owners, we wear a lot of hats. And some of those hats are totally great, but some, like filing taxes and running payroll, not so great. That's where Gusto comes in. Gusto makes payroll, taxes, and HR actually easy for small businesses. Fast, simple payroll processing, benefits, and simple management tools all in one place. Gusto automatically pays and files your federal, state, and local taxes so you don't have to worry about it. Plus, they make it easy to add on health benefits and even 401ks for your team. Those old school clunky payroll providers just weren't built for the way modern small businesses work, but Gusto is. So let Gusto wear one of your many hats. You have better things to do. Listeners to the EntreArchitect podcast get 3 months free when they run their first payroll. Try a demo and see for yourself at EntreArchitect.com/gusto. That's EntreArchitect.com/GUSTO. It's what every professional in architecture dreads. Editing down a manufacturer's specifications. Did that just make your skin crawl? Did that just make the hair on the back of your neck stand up? You're staring down a 54-page specification and you just need one product. Just one product and all of its attributes. That's all you need. There is a better way. And it's not throwing the entire specification into the project documents. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of money. It's Arcat.com's Spec Wizard. Spec Wizard is a unique tool that allows you to specify a product in minutes, not hours, by turning a specification into a simple-to-use website. Just select the products and options you want to specify and generate a 3-part CSI specification in multiple formats. And best of all, it's free. And it requires no registration. You don't even need to send them your email address. It's all free, just like everything at Arcat. So go to EntreArchitect.com/Arcat, EntreArchitect.com/ARCAT, and try the better way of specifying products. Arcat's Spec Wizard. Do you remember when you started your small firm? It was no small feat. It took lots of late nights, early mornings, and maybe even the occasional all-nighter. Bottom line, you've been busy, insanely busy, ever since. So why not make things a little bit easier? Well, our friends at FreshBooks have the solution. FreshBooks invoicing and accounting software is designed specifically for small business owners. It's simple, intuitive, and it keeps you way more organized than the dusty shoebox filled with crumpled receipts. Create and send professional-looking invoices in 30 seconds and then get them paid 2 times faster with automated online payments. File expenses even quicker and keep them perfectly organized for tax time. And the best part, FreshBooks grows alongside your business, so you'll always have the tools that you need when you need them, without ever having to learn the ins and outs of accounting. Join the 24 million people who've used FreshBooks. Try it for free for 30 days. That's free for 30 days. No catch, no credit card. Free. 30 days. Visit EntreArchitect.com/FreshBooks. That's EntreArchitect.com/FreshBooks and enter EntreArchitect in the How Did You Hear About Us section to get started. Gusto, ARCAT, and FreshBooks. Please visit our platform sponsors today and thank them for supporting you, the EntreArchitect community. So we sort of understand what layer is now. So let's go back to BVH and this position you had and emerging technology and your passion in that. And they sort of built this new position. You took that new position, started that idea of this is my new job. I'm gonna sort of help the firm, stay on the cutting edge and apply technology to their firms. And I also just want to mention real quick as an aside, it takes a firm a lot of courage to make those shifts, to make that change. But you said it wasn't easy. It was a little dirty to sort of make that transition, a little messy to make that transition. I think every firm goes through that. I was in a firm, I bring ideas as a young architect and they're like, yeah, we've been doing it for a long time. Go back to your drafting board. And so it takes a firm a lot of courage to first of all, you said to be open to it. If you're not open to it, none of this is going to work. And so to be open to it and then, give a little bit of flexibility and a little freedom to the people who are coming to you with these ideas, at least to show you the idea and then be open enough to, allow it to maybe blossom. It may be a terrible idea. It may waste a lot of time. You may be doing it a much better way, but you wouldn't know unless you gave them the opportunity. So I just wanted to say that.
No, very good. Yeah.
So how did this new position sort of blossom into layer? Because everything you talked to us about with Grasshopper and the visual scripting. Yeah. I noted it, but my handwriting was not.
No worries.
My secrets are revealed. And so how did that position sort of lead itself into layer? Did you just sort of start? How did it blossom? I mean, where did it come from? Where did the seed of that idea come from?
Good question. It actually, sorry for the messy timeline, but it actually began even before that position was created. It was a similar circumstance to the arena, where I was just on the project and saw that there was potentially a better way to do something. This actually started on the Nebraska State Capitol. We were awarded the project for the Nebraska State Capitol HVAC replacement. And what that entailed was essentially going into the entire building and ripping out the old, much larger HVAC equipment and replacing it with new, smaller equipment. It's a 10-year project. I think there's like 8 phases of the project. And so it was a really big undertaking for us. And again, like we were working with mechanical and electrical and plumbing consultants, engineers, but on the architectural side, we were concerned with we needed to patch, repair, replace, all of those types of things, and not only just in any building, but in a historic monument. And so the care that went into kind of preparing those solutions was really important. So as part of this project, we had to go through the entire building and do a detailed conditions assessment of the entire building. And what that typically would look like for us, the way we've done these condition assessments before was, we'd take we'd have a paper form for the information that we wanted to gather. We would walk into each room. We would jot down the answers to those questions, and then we'd have our digital camera along and we'd snap photos of that room, and then we'd move on to the next room. The problem here was that on the Capitol, there's about 1,300 rooms, and we were collecting about 57 data points per room. So things like, what's the wall material? What's the condition of the wall material? Is it preservation worthy or not? All of these different factors that we needed to collect for each individual room ended up being about 100,000 different data points that we needed to collect. Separately, I mean, with the images, we, like I said, typically we just have a digital camera with a giant pile of photos at the end of the day, and we'd go back to our computer, we'd put them onto our server, and hopefully we would be able to find, the photos of a specific room that we were looking for as we were designing the solution for that room, months or even potentially years after the fact. And we knew, like, up front that wasn't going to work. I think after this survey, we ended up with about 40,000 photographs of the building. And so you can imagine, finding what you're looking for within that stack of photos is next to impossible. Yeah. So we knew that, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's the way that it's been done for decades. I did that work for New York City schools, and that's exactly how it was done. And it was before we had the technology to do anything else. That's just the way it was done.
Yeah, exactly. And we knew, like, I was on that project. I was looking at this, and I was like, we've got to find a better way to do this, because what we did have was we had an architect that was working for us. Spent about 800 hours building a really detailed Revit model of the entire building. So he was in every crack and crevice of that building, measuring and building a 3D model of it. So we had this really, like, detailed geometry in Revit, but what we were lacking is the connection to that real world information that we actually needed to design. So the way that we kind of state this problem that we ran into was the information that we needed to design wasn't connected to the tool that was to actually produce them. And that's really where we realized that we need to come up with a different solution.
Can you just say that one more
problem.
time? Because
Sure.
Skype just blipped on us. And as you said that very important statement, it sort of crackled and we missed it. So if you could just
No worries.
Explain that again.
Sure. So the way that we kind of state the problem was that the information that we needed to design wasn't connected to the tool that we used to actually produce the design.
Got it. Okay.
So that real world information that we were collecting in the field wasn't connected to this really detailed Revit model that we had. And so we looked for a solution out there. We couldn't find one. And so we decided to build one. And so that's really where I just started digging in on nights and weekends into kind of mocking up a prototype of what this could look like. And
so this is just you taking initiative and saying, I have an idea. Let's see if I can build something that'll work.
Yes. So exactly.
So you didn't necessarily ask for permission. You just took permission and decided, okay, I'm going to build this on my own. And then, we'll see if it works. And if it works, then I can go back to the firm and show them what I've done.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah, I think it was a very short window where I kind of spent a week kind of prototyping what I was thinking and presented it to the team. And they were all on board. They loved the idea. So we spent so this was all before we even started the conditions assessment at all. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of got the go ahead from our team and from our firm leadership. And so I started really digging in and building this thing as we were ramping up to start this survey process. So
where did you learn how to do that? You're trained as an architect. So nowhere in the architectural education is coding. And
no.
so how did you start taking this idea that you have and start building it into something that could be used?
I would say it. So I'm not formally educated in computer science or anything else like that. Like you said, I'm educated as an architect. I think my thesis really led me to dive deep into programming and development, and dive past even visual scripting and just really focus on actual programming and coding for that matter. So I really started in my 6th year of school focusing on developing those skills, and really those skills were just learned literally via the internet.
Yeah, just self-educated. You were passionate about it. You wanted to learn it, and so you went out and you found the information to teach it to yourself.
Exactly. And I think that passion is really what drives a lot of if you're passionate about something, it's really easy to just immerse yourself into something and learn as much as you can about it.
And the information is all there. It's all out there
exactly.
on the internet, and most of it's free.
Exactly.
And so
yes,
there's no reason why, at this point we have no excuse that if you are passionate about something and you don't know how to do something, go. There's a thing called Google and YouTube, and type it in there and see what pops up.
Exactly. Yes, and that's exactly what I did. And I don't know that I knew what, when I started kind of with the prototype stuff, I don't know that I knew where it was going to end.
Yeah.
For sure. Or even how I would do it. But I knew that I relied enough on the fact that I could find the answers, that we decided to go down that road. So, I mean, honestly, from a firm leadership perspective, it took a lot of bravery on their part to kind of entrust that process, because this was a big chunk of our fee that we were investing in, not only just building the software, because that wasn't the large part of it. The large part was trusting that the thousands of hours we spent surveying it would be safe. That information would be safe, stored in this program that some architect was building. That took a lot of bravery on their part. Very,
very important point, because they could have very easily said, we're not going to risk this huge, very important project to this technology that this architect designed and says it's going to work, because you won't know it's going to work until you do it. So you have to spend a bunch of hours using the software, and when it doesn't work, you have to scrap it and start over again. And either go back to your client and say, oh, we messed up, we're way behind schedule, and now we have no fee, or you don't tell the client and you just go back and you scramble and try to get back to where you should be. So bravery is an understatement.
Exactly. No, and that's really a testament to them and our firm leadership in doing that. But we started building it, and started a working prototype, and the team started using it. We had up to 4 or 5 people out in the field at any given time. And really the benefit was, again, as they were collecting information, like taking photos and collecting the field data, all of that was synchronized in real time between the entire team. So you knew exactly who was where, what room they were working on, what rooms were done. And the team back in the office could immediately see all of that information coming through as well. So it wasn't always like a clean process. I mean, it's never a great idea to be developing something and be using it, concurrently. But again, that was a testament to the team and their patience with us. I think there were several times we were set up on the outside of the Capitol, on the back of on the trunk of my car with a laptop and a couple iPads, kind of debugging different problems and whatever else. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the project manager still to this day, says it was an absolute huge time saver, and we're still benefiting from that resource, because now, as we're continuing to design, we're in about the 3rd year of this project. We still have all of that information at our fingertips. So when someone's in the model, clicking in rooms or windows, they immediately see all of the information related to that room or that window. It was an interesting process. It's definitely a testament to the patience of our project manager and team, for sure. They gave us great feedback. So
when was the transition from, tool that you're going to use in the firm as an architect to, and so you took this new position, this tech position. Yeah. When did it become, okay, we need to actually turn this into a separate product and spin this off into a separate company?
Yeah, I'd say we kind of wrapped up the survey for the Nebraska State Capitol, and realized after that I think actually what happened was we presented at a few conferences as well. We kind of presented that process at a few conferences and got overwhelming feedback of people coming to us and saying, I would love to use this for X or Y, versus just a conditions assessment. Even just a workflow tool to be able to manage project tasks, or a communication tool to be able to have conversations within the context of our building. We had people kind of coming up to us asking, if this was a product. And at that point we were like, we did not build it. We hadn't planned on that at all.
Right.
And so I'd say after about a year and a half after we kind of began on the capital, we decided, you know what, this is a tool that I think could benefit the industry as a whole, and let's give this a shot. So we kind of rebuilt it from the ground up at that point, and spent about the next year and a half building it. We launched April 2nd of this year publicly. We had been beta testing with a few firms around the country prior to that for about 6 or 7 months prior to that. And yeah, we just finally launched the final tool. So it's been a cool journey, but
yeah, exciting and very, very early in the process. Yeah, it's exciting to hear your story and to follow the passion that led to it, because the seed was your passion, the development of was your passion. It was your passion is what got you to where you are now, with the encouragement and courage of the firm to allow you to follow that passion. They took a lot of faith in you, and they had a lot of trust that you would, you develop something that was worthy of using, and then, the courage to spin it off and to let you go and explore the possibility of turning it into a product. It took a lot of courage as well. Did anyone fill your position in the firm? Is there somebody else there now, sort of looking at technologies and where they could take the firm?
I wouldn't say no. The position hasn't necessarily been filled. We do have some younger architects who are definitely taking an interest in computation and parametric design, and implementing that on projects. So it's kind of been cool to see that grow. Yeah. I kind of still, I'm not doing much in like I said, I'm focused almost purely on layer at this point, but at this point, I don't know what the plans are for that position, I guess. They're kind of, or what, but we do have some groups that are interested in using this in practice, much like I was, just as an architect who we're interested in it. But yeah.
I have one more question before we wrap things up, before I ask my final question, but I have one more question about our conversation. And this is something that I'm very interested in. I always ask when I talk to people like you who've moved from full-time architect to doing something different, and applying your skills and your strengths as an architect into some other career or some other, and it's usually related, but it's no longer a practicing architect. You're no longer designing buildings. Was that transition difficult to make that decision, to allow the thing that you worked for? You became a licensed architect, not easy to do. You've made a conscious decision to not do that and to embrace this entrepreneur startup, this tech startup. Was that decision difficult?
Yes, I would say yes. In short, it was really difficult. It was something that I, even before Layer, just battled back and forth whether or not I wanted to go down that road of just focusing purely on emerging technologies and how they apply to design versus just doing that on the side as I design projects. That was a really hard decision for me, but I realized that my passion for those emerging technology and how they apply to design, my passion for that really outweighed my my fears or my worrying about actually stepping out of practice. And I think like even when I went into Layer, I had a good friend of mine who's also an architect, kind of asked me, he's like, I'd be interested to hear what do you like about what you're doing now versus architecture. And I had to think about it a little bit, and I finally realized that I think why I'm really enjoying what I do now is because I can kind of build without compromise, which for me was as an architect, we are all familiar with the way that projects usually work. We usually have a big idea, and that gets boiled down throughout the entire process, and might end up a small remnant of what it was before. that's kind of I guess a cynical way to look at it. And by no means do I think that I'm never going to miss practicing architecture. I'm obviously like about 6 months into this of stepping out of architecture completely. I think I will miss architecture, but I think that's been really refreshing to me to be able to kind of build something without compromise. Kind of build what to basically see your idea realized without having to compromise on any of its ideals.
So you can take that idea and fully develop it the way it emerges in your own mind.
Yeah,
without
exactly.
somebody else saying, "Oh, you can't do that," or the budget's not there to do that, or we don't have the time for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think like my architecture, and this is where I see a ton of value in like my degree in architecture, because like, as I'm stepping out of this, I've had people ask me like, do you feel like it's a waste that you went to architecture school? And like I said, I don't know that I'll always be outside of architecture, but I tell them emphatically no. I think being educated as an architect is a lot more about just learning how to build buildings, but really there's so many other embedded skill sets that are involved in that process. I mean, mainly critical thinking and problem solving are huge skill sets for really any industry, and even composition and the ability to design things are so much broader than just a building or architecture. So I think architects are really well positioned to be, or at least educated to be well positioned to be flexible in their career paths and where they can go. So yeah, I definitely appreciate my education as an architect, and I think it's been nothing but beneficial for me, kind of in this new trajectory.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I asked that question, because I think that a lot of people get to the point where some people, not a lot of people, some people get to the point where they have to make this decision. They have this great idea, they have this passion, but they just spent a decade of their life pursuing a career path, have done all the work, have checked all the boxes, have passed all the tests, have become a licensed architect, and now you need to make a decision. Am I going to pursue that original plan, or am I going to take this other path and do something else and follow my passion? That's a really difficult decision to make. And I appreciate your answer. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think that's been really where, leaving that, it's a tough decision, like for anybody, because as an architect, you kind of have this prescribed career path. Like, it's usually fairly obvious whether it's a small or a large firm. I mean, you're, working your way up to project architect, project manager, you want to be a principal one day, that type of stuff. You kind of have this kind of prescribed career path. And it was difficult to make that decision. And I had to kind of get comfortable with the idea of not really knowing where the next, year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years of my life is going to look like, rather than that kind of prescribed path. But it's been quite the adventure. It's been fun.
Yeah, I believe, and a lot of people disagree with me, but I believe that once you become an architect, you're always an architect. Whether you're designing buildings or not, you're an architect. You've earned that title. You've earned that position. You have that knowledge and the skills to come with that. And our job as architects is to solve problems. And those problems are not always buildings. And I think that when we as a profession embrace that idea, we can solve the bigger problems of the world, because we won't be afraid to move away from buildings. Some of us are great at buildings, and we should stay there and continue to embrace that and take more responsibility and more control over the development of buildings, design and construction of buildings. But I think that there should also be architects taking their skills and their passions and their talents and apply those to other problems that we have in this world. Because I really believe that we could solve the world's problems if we come together as architects and use all our mind power and our skills and our very unique abilities and apply them to some of these big problems that we have, that other people who are not trained and skilled and have natural talents that we have just can't think the way we think, can't do the things that we do. And so I encourage people to follow that passion and to fully embrace the skills and the strength that you have and apply them to the things that can solve the world's problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree.
So before we wrap up, I want to ask you the one question that I ask everybody. So what's one thing that a small firm architect can do today to build a better business for tomorrow?
I think really improve the way that improve your workflows, like the way that you're managing your projects and project information. I think like there's so much complexity within the built environment, within buildings, and so that really makes it difficult to make shifts in the way that we work, like, for example, paperwork and things like that. But I think that where firms can really realize efficiency and thereby, see better business success is through improving those kind of, or at least revising the way that they're working, and those they're processing paperwork or sending emails or anything else like that. I'd say that's one way that people could really improve.
Yeah, excellent. On the web, it's layer.team. So if you want to check out Layer and all that it does, go to the website layer.team team. Go check it out. They're also all over social media at Layer App. So search Layer App and you'll find Zach and his team on social media everywhere. Zach, this has been super interesting, very, very inspiring. I really enjoyed hearing about your story and how you sort of came up through the profession and how it led to Layer, and how and that final question. I love the answers to that final question. I'm looking forward to watching Layer and to watching you and see where it takes us all. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I should add too, Mark. We talked a lot about Layer and how like it was working in relation to Revit and BIM, but this is a tool that works completely standalone as well. So we have clients who use it, who are working in CAD, and even just people that are reviewing PDFs, drawings, and things like that. So, sorry, one last aside there. I wanted to mention that.
That's important because a lot of this community are not using BIM. And
so I just want to
it's for everybody. And like I said, it's impressive. You should go check it out just to see how it works. So layer.team to go check out Layer. Zach, thank you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge here at EntreArchitect Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. It was great to talk to you.
So that was episode 280. The link to share is entrearchitect.com/episode 280. You, my friends, are the EntreArchitect Army. Go share that link right now, entrearchitect.com/episode 280. And let's get this train rolling. Let's get the rest of the world of small firm architects to know what we're doing here at EntreArchitect, because that's the only way this is happening. That's the only way we're making a difference here, is by you sharing this podcast with your friends. So go share it with every architect you know, and share this link so you can share Zach Soflin's story with Layer. I really am inspired by Zach, and I think a lot of you are in that position too, where you have this idea, this passion of some other idea that you can leverage your skills and your talents as an architect, and you can go do something that's going to change the world. Maybe it's not being a traditional architect. Maybe it's something else. Don't be afraid. Follow that passion. Go see what you can do. If you can make the world a better place with the skills that you have as an architect, go do that. Go do that. And go share this episode so other people can be inspired to do that as well. Yes, traditional architecture is strong and well, and we need to strengthen that as well. And the people who are passionate about that should be doing that. But there are people who are trained as architects who have other passions, and they should not be afraid to go explore those ideas and use those skills that you have as an architect. And you will always be an architect, so don't worry about pursuing other things. I don't care what anybody says. Once you're an architect, you're always an architect. So go do it. Go do it. This is entrearchitect.com/episode 280. Go share that. And come join us. Come join us at EntreArchitect Membership, where we have monthly training from experts. Experts come in every month and train on a specific topic of business or leadership or life, just making our profession better, right? It's training all the members to improve what they do as architects. Every month we have a live training. Then we have access to that archive. We have over 50 now of those trainings. They're all in there for the membership. Then you have unlimited access to all our business resources a free video library full of additional videos of conversations and trainings on additional subjects, and a private member forum in Slack with hundreds of entrepreneur architects just like you. So come hang out with us, come join us, come learn what you need to do to build a better business. Go check it out right now. It's all there for you. Subscribe today at EntreArchitect.com/join. That's EntreArchitect.com/join. And if you are an entrepreneur architect who runs or owns your own small firm, then you are an EntreArchitect. And I encourage you to go build a better business so you can be a better architect. 3 rules: love, learn, share. Follow those rules and you'll have a better life, and the rest of the world will be a better world. Love, learn, share. Thank you for listening here today at the EntreArchitect podcast, and have a great week.
Imagine earning continuing education credits while doing exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you can. Gable Media has revolutionized the way you earn your continuing education credits with a groundbreaking approach. Forget running around town and scouring the internet for credit-worthy courses. Fulfill your CE requirements effortlessly by listening to engaging podcasts just like the one you're listening to now. Our podcasts are designed to educate, entertain, and inspire, all in a user-friendly environment. But wait, there's more. Architects, Gable Media is also approved as an AIA continuing education services provider. Upon completion, we handle everything, from reporting your hours directly to the AIA to storing your certificates in your personal Gable Media profile for your self-reporting needs. So follow the link in the show notes and start earning your credits in the most innovative and entertaining way possible with Gable Media.
Attention architects and creative minds, get ready to supercharge your brand with Build Your Brand, the podcast that's unlocking the secrets of branding success for creatives. Hey there, it's Mark Arlepage, founder of EntreArchitect, and I'm inviting you to join my friend, architect marketing expert Jeff Eccles at Build Your Brand podcast, where he explores the captivating stories of the world's top brands and transforms their lessons into powerful moves for small firm architects and creatives like you. In Season 1, Jeff shares the thrilling tale of Southwest Airlines, where he dissects their journey to the summit and distills it into strategies tailor-made for you.
It's important to keep in mind that companies like Southwest compete in the real world, just like you, and face real-world challenges, just like you. You might be surprised at how similar those challenges are to the struggles that you grapple with on a day-to-day basis.
Don't miss out on your blueprint for success. Subscribe, tune in, and let's build your brand together.
You may have noticed that the very best brands in the world are also known for having somewhat unique corporate cultures. That's often the glue that holds everything together when they encounter those rough spots.
We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short haul, frequent flyer.
Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Your Brand today. Remember, no matter the size, the journey's the same. Your brand's journey to the top starts here.